If you're like me, then you have a hard time telling the difference between blonde, blue-eyed, white male actors named Chris. While they have the luxury of knowing who they are, we all get confused. Let's start with Chris Evans. Chris Evans plays Captain America. Captain America is the guy who was frozen in the 40s and eventually thawed out to be the leader of the Avengers. This means he is not Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is Thor. Thor is a god who skips along the rainbow road and is a member of the Avengers, but not the leader. The leader is Captain America. Here's a picture of Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth together, so now we know they are not the same person. See? And Chris Evans, the one on the left, is also known from the movie Not Another Teen Movie, in which he Chris Hemsworth is on the left. Chris Hemsworth plays Chris Pine's dad in Star Trek, the first one. Did you guys realize that? Chris Hemsworth plays Chris Pine's dad. Oh, Chris Pine! Chris Pine plays a captain in Star Trek, Captain Kirk. He is a captain, but not Captain America. He's also known for the animated movie Rise of the Guardians. That is to say, not Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt is in Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt plays Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, but we know and love him from Parks and Rec. And I love him in Jurassic World, which is to say I love those arms and strikingly hot bod. Eventually, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Evans will be in the same movie together because they are all in the Marvel Universe. And why don't we confuse everybody? Here's a picture of Chris Pratt and Chris Evans together. Chris Evans, the one on the left, was in the failed Fantastic Four movie in 2005. And he's on the right. Chris Evans is on the right. Chris Pratt was in Wieners. Wieners was in 2008, and I have no idea how well it did, but I think it's fantastically hilarious. And don't forget, Chris Hemsworth was also in a box office bomb, Snow White and the Huntsman. But I think people are just haters. Chris Pine was in Blind Dating, a movie I've never heard of, but I'm mentioning it because I'm pretty sure it was a box office fail. Here's a picture of Chris Evans and Chris Pine together. Chris Pine, the one on the left, was in the critically acclaimed Into the Woods, where he played a prince. Why not with that gorgeous coiffed hair? Here's a picture of all of them with beards. Here's a mashup of Chris Pine and Chris Evans together. I call it Chris Pevans. Here's Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine together. I like to call it Chris Hemsworth, with a big nose. And here is Jimmy Fallon, Chris Pratt, and Chris Evans together staring at a hoagie. Here are all their eyes and noses. And finally, as I think I've gotten off track, here's a picture of all the Chris's almost naked. Oh, here we go. Just look at their bodies. Now it's easy. Left to right. Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt. Hopefully, now you can tell the differences between the Chris's. I know I can. Thanks for tuning in to the differences of the Chris's. Next week, we tackle Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling.